Hello, I'm Ryan Benson, a member of Glasgow Middle School's Math Department. Create your online class with Tag Pros and help us educate American students. Sign up and apply now.
Hello, my name is Chris Manansala, and I'm the CEO of Tag Pros USA. Create your online classes at Tag Pros and get a chance to collaborate and get noticed by United States schools. We're currently running a Texas Visiting Teachers program, and who knows, you might get invited by school principals to visit and work in their schools. Check the link on your chat box for more details. Sign up, apply, and create your classes. Thank you.
Howdy, I am Josh Floyd of Fairfax County Public School District. Join and teach here at Tag Pros and help us educate American students. Sign up and apply now.
As we transition to the new normal, we have left others behind. We need to reimagine and redesign our educational system. With the collective effort of schools, sponsors, and Tag Pros Learning Management System, and core of passionate teachers, we can deliver free education and champion the cause of our students. Together, we would be able to teach, inspire, and serve, because Tag Pros believes that education is a right all children deserve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to your favorite live webinar series here in Tag Pros Children. As promised, we will offer you today a very exciting and promising webinar. I'm Luis, a grade school teacher and EdTech coach at Xavier School. And this webinar workshop series is brought to you by Tag Pros Children in partnership with Tag Pros Education, an up-and-coming online K-12 education marketplace where passion takes the lead in learning. This event is also made possible by the Department of Education International Cooperation Office, Teacher Education Network, and the Next Series. Moving on, I hope that you were able to get updates from our Facebook page. There are many exciting initiatives done by Tag Pros Education and partnerships with other countries. We will discuss those later, so stay tuned. All right, now let's have an attendance check and see where all of our participants are coming from. Hi, everyone. You may say hi. Let's see. All right, Mama Revic de Pedro. Good morning po from Jarmeth College Incorporated, San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. Thank you so much for joining us today. Miss Corpus de Sala from Solana High School, Nueva Vizcaya. Hello, good morning. Miss Evangeline Ermino, welcome from Basista Central School, Pangasinan. Wonderful. Liev Cuino, watching from Suarez National High School, Iligan City. Good morning. Hi. Hello, Miss Interino from Malipayon Elementary School, Santa Josefa, Agusan del Sur Division. All right. Hello, watching from Canlupao Elementary School, Tomas Opus. From Cebu, hello, Ms. Navarro. Jose Rizal University. Oh, it's much closer. Hello there, Mr. Arcilia. Thank you for joining us today. Live from Abra. This looks very familiar. Floresa Toscano. Very nice. Daisy Dacayo, good morning from Division of Zambales. Rupsel, as a familiar name, he looks like a frequent comer here at Tag Pros live webinars, Mandaluyong City. One more. Salvi Aquino Alvaro, watching from Santo Niño Catholic School. All the way from Calamba, Laguna. Hello, Miss Fontanilla. Hello. All right, thank you very much to all of our attendants all over the Philippines. Now, as always, please practice responsible digital citizenship and refrain from sharing personal information in the comments section. And that includes your email or your contact number. Let's also be civil to one another in the comments section. And just in case you forgot already, registering for the webinar workshop or just watching the webinar does not make you eligible for an e-certificate. If you want to receive an e-certificate for our webinar workshop series, you have to answer the evaluation forms that we release after every session. After we open the form, you only have a week to answer it before we close it on, take note everyone, Friday at 11:59 p.m. If we miss this deadline, unfortunately, we will no longer be able to access and answer the evaluation form, even if you registered and joined the webinar session. We hope that you understand and remember this, teachers. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. This live webinar is very timely as we heard about the government's announcement of returning all the students and teachers to face-to-face learning, and the struggle faced by both teachers and students in conducting assessments in this hybrid setup. Let's now meet our guest resource speaker for today. I need to do this well to keep my job as a Xavier teacher at Xavier School. Please don't tell her I said that because she's actually my principal. All right, here we go. Miss Jane Calieja Cacacho has served in various leadership positions for the past 25 years. She was assigned as a high school principal of Xavier School for 9 years and has been appointed as grade school principal since 2014. A firm supporter of 21st century learning, she recognizes the crucial role of technology in education and is part of the 2017 batch of Apple Distinguished Educators. That's right. She is also a PAASCO accreditor, and these roles and experiences have contributed greatly to who she is today, a passionate educator who focuses on good pedagogy over popular trends and who prioritizes excellence over compliance. Today, she will share her knowledge and expertise as she discusses the importance of assessment and academic integrity in hybrid learning. Let us all welcome Ms. Jane C. Cacacho for the first part of her talk.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here. And as Luis was greeting everyone in the attendance, hi and good morning. It's really an honor to see that our participants are coming from all over. And I'm happy that our setup, the online setup, has allowed us to do this. Special hi to Mrs. Toscano, who, despite camping out outside her house because of the earthquake in Abra, is still with us this morning. So, hello po. And thank you very much. I hope, hindi to check if I'm treating your son right. Um, so, let me now go into my talk, no? Academic integrity. Why is it such a hot topic lately? I think it's because it has always been a hot topic pre-pandemic, right? And because of that, I'd like to begin by saying um, we're talking about academic integrity because we need to talk about assessment. Because we are worried that the assessment that we give our students do not yield results which assure us or which give us full confidence that the grades we give are well deserved. However, what I'd like to say is that the principles of good assessment, okay, what makes an assessment good, actually remain the same, regardless of whether we were doing it on site, we were administering it online or through modules, or um, in the coming school year that we are going to do it hybrid. Okay, let me just share my screen for now, no? All right. So, okay, I hope you can see my screen. Yes? Okay. So, the principles of good assessment remain the same regardless of modality. And as I say that, I'd also like to assure you that we as educators also have to demand integrity in our assessments, regardless of the modality with which we administered our assessment. So, while we will have more concerns probably if our students are not with us physically, it does not excuse us from requiring the same virtue or the same value of integrity from the students. Okay, so if they're with us, we have our eagle eyes on them physically. If they're not with us, we still hope that they will practice integrity as they accomplish our assessments. If we talk about academic integrity, what are we referring to? We're talking about honesty. And what does honesty mean? Honesty means the students answer it on their own. They did not get help from others unless it's the type of help that we said it's okay to receive from others. Because I see that our participants, some of you come from the preschool. Obviously, for some of those assessments, you will require the parents to provide some help. But for as long as the help given is within the parameters of what we deem as acceptable assistance, that's fine. But when the moment comes that a student receives help from someone, or maybe not someone, but maybe from Google, from a book, okay, from a resource that they should not have access to, then they're not being honest. Academic integrity means the students showing evidence of what they learn. And the key word there is what they themselves learn. Now, academic integrity also means trust. What kind of trust is this? This refers to the trust of the students in the teacher, that the teacher will grade the answers fairly, correctly, and accurately. Because can you imagine if the student does not trust the teacher enough that he or she will grade the assessment well, then that's a clear temptation for the student to cheat, isn't it? No? Because the student might think na, ay, may favorite si ma'am. No? May favorite si sir. So, dahil hindi ako yung favorite, dehado ako. Lamang yung iba. And to even that playing field, okay lang na mag-cheat ako kasi I will just make sure I'm on the level field with someone who is lamang. Okay? So, to talk about academic integrity means that the students should also trust in the process of the assessment and should have enough trust in the teachers. Respect. Okay? Because it means that the students respect for the teacher will deter them from doing something that will disrespect the teacher. Hindi ba? If we like somebody, we will do what is right by that person. So the more students trust the teachers, okay, the more that they will want to do what is right, which means what is doing by what is right? By giving the honest answers. Okay? Now, responsibility. Why is that part of academic integrity? Because to do well in a graded assessment, in an exam, means that a student should have been responsible enough to study well for the subject so that he will feel good about being able to give the correct answers or give answers that have a fighting chance of getting a check mark, hindi ba? So, that responsibility, if a student was responsible enough, then again, there is less temptation to cheat because the student will also want to know the score that his answers will merit. Okay? Now, and courage. Weird, di ba? Why is courage part of academic integrity? Because to be brave enough to recognize that my answer may not be the best one to get the perfect score, or to be brave enough to say that my answer might be wrong and so I will get a low score, is what will propel a student to have academic integrity, no? To still give the answer that will reflect my thoughts and not the answer that Google will give me. Okay? So, these five virtues of honesty, trust, respect, responsibility, and courage make up or all combine together to give a student enough okay, character for them to have integrity. And what is integrity? It's doing what is right even when no one is watching. Now, why did I say that? Why is that important? Because in an online setting or in a module, no, if you're delivering your assessments through modules or through when you are not with them, it is important for students to feel this because there might not be anyone watching them. Okay? And yet, they will feel that drive to still be honest. Okay? And to still do their assessments with integrity. Now, I'd like to take a step back and not to address immediately how to stop cheating. No? I'd like to begin with, in the first place, why are students cheating? Why do they cheat? According to a 2004 article, many students cheat because they feel it's a victimless crime. What does it mean? Wala naman akong sinasaktan eh. 'Di ba? Unlike bullying na may pinaiyak ako, when I cheat, okay, I did not hurt anybody. In fact, kung ako yung nagpa-kopya ng sagot ko, in fact, did I actually help someone? Okay? Or let's say, ako yung kumopya. I copied from somebody. But wala namang nawala dun sa somebody na pinagkopyahan ko. I did not hurt this person. So, cheating looks like a victimless crime. But is this true? Actually, it's not, right? Because the crime is towards the self, where in the future, you might pay for the sins of not really knowing what you should know, and then you got a passing score, 'di ba? Tapos kunwari lang doktor ka, nag-cheating ka, uh, and when you're already a doctor, you don't know the right answer and you're asked to apply that knowledge. Oh, hindi ba victim ka nung crime mo? Kasi hindi mo alam ang dapat gawin? And yung pinagkopyahan mo, this person spent hours, maybe days, studying for an exam. He sweated for a good grade. You did not sweat at all. The cheater did not sweat at all. Okay? And then, students also cheat because they have this feeling na, it's okay if you're not caught. Malas mo lang if you're caught. But if not, go lang, G lang. Okay? It already has its own language. No? If you think about it, when people now talk about cheating, what do they say? It's part of life. Wala namang estudyanteng nag-graduate na hindi nag-cheat. Talagang part yan of being a student. And all these spills about cheating seems to make it okay, even if it's not okay. And sometimes because nga students will use it as an excuse. Unfair yung teacher. Mahirap yung test. Hindi yan tinuro. No? Itong teacher na to mahilig mag-test ng hindi naman niya tinuro ng maayos. So, okay lang na mag-cheat ako. Hindi magaling magturo yan eh. Or mahina internet sa amin. Or hindi ko nakuha yung module. So, okay lang na mag-cheat ako. Alangan namang babagsak ako, hindi ko naman kasalanan. So, all these excuses seem to make cheating right in the minds of these students who are highly impressionable and might not be mature enough to think yet. Okay? Now, let's break it down some more. What do students actually think about when they're about to commit academic dishonesty? In short, pagka ako ay estudyante, no, may exam na or may project na ipapasubmit, graded project, and I'm thinking about Will I cheat or will I not cheat? Okay? Ano ba usually ang mga pumapasok sa utak nila? Okay. The first question is, bakit ako mag-cheat? What pushes me? Bakit ko ba ito pinag-iisipan? And what are the usual answers there? Competitiveness. Kunwari lang, I'm running for honors. Or, itong kapitbahay namin, dapat makakuha ako ng grade na mas mataas sa kanya. Kung hindi, mapapahiya ako. Fear of failure. Okay, sa bahay namin, bawal ang bumagsak. Or, pag ako bumagsak, nako itong teacher na to, mahilig mampahiya. No? So, baka pahiyain ako ni teacher. Insufficient knowledge. Kasi grade 10 na ako ngayon. Yung grade 9 nga, tsaka grade 8 na math, hindi ko na master Paano ko ipapasa tong grade 10? Wala akong foundation skills. The only way I can pass grade 10 is to cheat. Because my grade 7 and 8 and 9 are poor. Okay? Or sometimes it might be a character trait, right? So, sa bahay namin, study habits are not important. Getting good grades, not important. But I should get just enough to pass. Okay? Para hindi naman sayang yung ipinapaalawan sa akin ng magulang ko. Pero hanggang dun lang. So hindi ko kailangan mag-aral. Kokopya lang ako ng minimum. No? Or tiredness. Maybe if you have students who have a lot of chores, or for those in senior high or in college, working students maybe, they really don't have time to study. And so feeling nila kapit sa patalim, they need to cheat. Parents' pressure to succeed sa ating mga magulang dito. So this is a good question, no? A reflection question to ask ourselves. Tayo ba ang nagpupush sa mga anak natin to cheat? Or dissatisfaction with teaching? Meron naman talagang teacher na mas hindi magaling kaysa sa iba, which is fine. But kung hindi talaga marunong magturo, that's a different thing. Or does our school have standards that are unreasonably high? Or excessive high academic demands, meaning to say, ang daming sabay-sabay na exams. Of course, the students don't have time to study everything. And they may be pushed to prioritize some subjects. And then yung iba, ipagpaliban, pwede nang, yan, kokopyahin ko na lang yan. No? Ito important. Irrelevance of the subject. They feel that your subject is not important at all. And if they feel that, why will they study it? No? Wala namang kinalaman sa buhay nila. Or yung iba na mababa ang self-esteem, no? And they get their self-concept from the grades that they get, no? So to have a better social status, para ang kunare sa classroom nila, siya yung isa sa mga, sabihin na nating hindi masyado angat sa buhay. So, dinadaan niya sa matataas na grades. So, socioeconomic status, mababa na nga ako So, hahabulin ko sa grades. And, hindi lang pwede yung kaya ko. Dapat more than that pa. Kasi hindi naman ako ganun katalino. So, ano gagawin ko? Cheating na lang ako. Okay? Or low moral development, meaning, baka as a school or in the family, hindi natin na ituro ng maayos kung gaano kaimportante sa buhay ang honesty, ang truthfulness, ang integrity. And so, because these are students that have been with us and they don't see the importance of this, what happens? They don't prioritize it. Low value ang honesty. So to cheat or not to cheat doesn't matter. Honesty is not important, di ba? That's also possible. Now, aside from the drive or what makes them cheat, Okay? The reason for wanting or needing to cheat. What else do students think about? They think about, can I do this? Kumbaga, ah, can I do this? Kaya ko bang gawin? Mahuhuli ba ako? Okay, can I get away with it? And when they think about that, what do they consider in their minds? No? Pag, na, pag natutunugan nila that there are multiple opportunities, okay, to cheat. And di syempre, they might, no? The temptation will be greater. What do I mean? Let's say, yung test, ang madaling mag-cheating. Okay? Madaling mag-cheating kasi um, kasi multiple choice lang. Tag sa multiple choice, kaya kong i-google ng madali yung mga tanong. Or recall questions. Mabilis i-search sa internet. Yun nga, full and easy access to learning content. Nasa bahay ako. Hindi naman nakikita ni teacher. Kung nakabukas yung aking textbook or notebook where I have my notes. No? So, kung pwedeng gawin or hindi naman niya nakikita, nasa tabi ko yung tutor ko, kayang-kaya kong tanungin. Imumute ko lang, hindi naman nila naririnig kung nag-uusap kami. Okay? Pwedeng gawin. Or, alam ko itong proctor namin, hindi, ano yan, tamad yan. Natutulog lang yan pagka na-assign mag-proctor. So, madaling mag-cheat. So, if you make cheating easy to do, okay, easy to happen, then the temptation becomes greater to cheat, especially when partnered with the first slide that I showed, with the previous slide that I showed, na ang daming reason why they may need to cheat, hindi ba? So, kung may feeling nila, may valid reason sila, tapos madali pang gawin, o di times 2 na yung temptation. What's the third question? Siyempre, iisipin nila, di ba? Pagka pupusta ka, iisipin mo, yung ilalabas kong pera, ano yung balik? Sila rin, nag-iisip, kung mahuli ako, worth it ba yung chinit ko? Okay? Pinag-iisipan yan. No? So, what comes to their mind when they have this question? They think, okay, this is a long exam. This is the final exam. And it's a high stakes test. The grade in this test means a lot to me because it will mean whether I will stay in this grade level or I will be promoted. It will mean pwede pa ako magstay sa school na to o makikick out na ako. So, importanteng test, di ba? Pag mahuli ako, tapos wala naman kaming student handbook, wala naman kaming sanction for cheating, or ang sanction namin sa cheating ay 1 day suspension lang, ganun lang, di worth it pa rin mag-cheat. Di ba? Yun yung pwede nilang isipin. Worth it kasi ang laki-laki ng impact ng grade. And yet, kahit na mahuli, okay lang, negligible yung impact. So, that's what you have to think about. Or, okay, so when the students, when you administer a test or when you roll out an assessment, okay, already anticipate that the students will have these 3 questions in mind. And because tayo ngayon, no, after listening to me, hopefully maiisip nyo na, ito pala yung mga iniisip nila. Our goal is that when these questions pop up inside their heads, that their answer will be, no, I won't cheat. Okay? And now, the next part is, ano yung gagawin ko para ang mga sagot or ang self-talk ng bata is don't cheat. Even if I have the questions, I won't. Okay? So, there are two types of things that we can do. The first would be proactive measures. Okay? Hindi pa nangyayari, hindi pa nagte-test, may gagawin na tayo para hindi niya maiisip mag-cheat at all. The second is as policing and punishment, which means to say, habang habang nagte-test sila, meron akong ginagawa to police or to try to catch who are planning to be dishonest. And then, I also have a set of punishment na nag-aabang na sa kanila para kung mahuli ko, matututo sila. So, if you notice, these are two types. One is proactive, the other is reactive, and both are needed. Let's go first to the proactive measures. Let's go back to the reasons. Okay? When we talk about competitiveness, I have to get a higher grade than my seatmate kasi lagi niya akong inaasar. Or I fear failure. Or it's because of my parents who keep pressuring me. Then I think it's good for us as a school and as an educator to look at our school culture and practices. No? What is your grading system like? Bakit takot na takot silang bumagsak? Is it because pag unang bagsak nila, kick out agad? Eh di pagka ganun lagi, laging tense ang mga bata. At kung lagi silang tense, syempre ayaw nila yung ganung feeling. 'Di ba? So, ito yung magpo-push sila sa kanila mag-cheat. So what I'm saying is, sometimes we might be the ones pushing them to cheat. Tayo yung drive kung bakit walang academic integrity. Let me just share with you what I feel is a good thing that we have in our school. No, we wait for our students. What do I mean? One practice we have is that we give a chance for students who fail an exam to take a retest. No? So pag bumagsak siya, yung unang bagsak, hindi muna nire-record. But instead, these students who fail are given another encounter or nagpa-practice sila ulit ni teacher, and then pag nakuha na nila, they take a retake. No? They take the test again. And it's the score of that retest that is recorded. Now, if I am a student and I know that kahit na nag-aral na ako ng mabuti, hindi ko pa rin masyado naintindihan. Pero test na eh. No? Will I be tempted to cheat? Not immediately, right? Because I know that if I fail, I have a second chance. So the second chance is a school practice that can help deter cheating. Or for example, in our school, we took out academic awards. Why? It's the awards that, alam mo, sino ba talaga ang may gusto ng academic award sa tingin niyo? Yung bata o yung magulang niya? Hindi ba karaniwan yung magulang? And yung mga bata na itutulak na lang, 'di ba? Push, push, push kasi papagalitan sila pag wala silang award. So, again, the practice of not having awards could stop a student from wanting or needing to cheat. Or for example, your grading system, no? If your grade right now we already follow pag nasa public school, no choice, 'di ba? Or you have to follow DepEd. But for those schools who are deregulated and you can have your own assessment or grading policy, you might want to consider what type of grading system you will use. Kasi kung yung grading system ninyo pushes students to cheat, then yun nga. Again, baka it's the school that pushes students to cheat. Now, kunwari, ang drive to cheat is because dissatisfaction with teaching. Meaning to say, yung student, iniisip niya, aba, what do you call this? There's nothing wrong with me cheating because my teacher does not teach well. Eh kung magaling lang siya magturo, di hindi ko kailangang mangopya. Kasalanan pa ni teacher, di ba? That's a dysfunctional way of thinking about it. But even as I say that, hindi naman natin yan may explain sa bata eh. But what we can do is to improve. Sa totoo lang naman, meron kasi namang teacher na hindi masyadong magaling magturo. So ayusin din natin yon para hindi ito iisipin ng mga bata. Or insufficient knowledge. Meaning to say, yung example ko kanina, di ba? Grade 8, grade 9 math, hindi niya nakuha. Kaya pagdating ng grade 10, the only way for a student to survive is to cheat. Then if you see that the performance of your grade 10 students is very poor, then there is value in looking and evaluating your curriculum again. Is it spiraling appropriately? Are you going too fast? Are there learning gaps that you have to address? And so on, so forth. So sometimes one proactive way to address cheating is to improve the curriculum and better teaching. And if you notice, this has nothing to do with the actual testing time, di ba? But these are still ways to promote academic integrity. So it's a big systemic concern. It's not just about telling a student not to cheat in class. Moving on. Kung kunwaring it's because nga of hindi tamang pag-iisip about the virtue of integrity, honesty, truthfulness, then maybe we have to work on the formation program of our students. No? We have to work on character building. We have to have an honesty campaign in school. Hindi ba? So, again, it's a school concern. So, when we talk about the wrong, the mistaken notions of students about needing to cheat, hindi yan makukuha sa isang pasabi lang na children, don't cheat. Hindi ba? The concern is so big that we have to review our school practices, our culture. We have to look at our curriculum. We have to check how well our teachers are teaching. And we have to look at the hidden curriculum of the school, which refers to our ethics, no, formation program, GM, ano yan? Good conduct, GCRM, the program. Okay? So, lahat yan kailangang GMRC. Okay. Lahat yan kailangang tignan. So, mga Catholic schools, no? Yung inyong religion subject, kailangan nyo tignan. Is it working? Baka naman 100 sila sa test ng religion. Pero, paglabas ng classroom, ang lakas magmura. Pagka nagtetest, cheating ng cheating. So, did your subject work? I don't think so. Aside from that, what else can we do? Okay? We need to communicate frequently the following. Diba sabi natin, one reason why students cheat is because they don't think our subject is important. And when we talk about the importance of a subject, it has to be, the relevance of the subject has to be felt by the students. The students have to know why they are studying it. And not just to get a passing mark, but why is the subject important outside school? Bakit ko kailangang mag-aral ng math? 'Di ba? Ba't ko kailangang malaman kung paano mag-measure ng perimeter or area? Okay? Pag sa geometry, No, bakit pag nagsusulat ako ng letter, kailangan magkabati yung aking subject at verb, 'di ba? Bakit pag sa science alam ko kung saan nanggagaling ang earthquake? The relevance of our subject has to be understood and appreciated. If they don't appreciate that, ba't nila aralin? 'Di ba? Eh, kaya ko namang makuha yung points when I copy my classmates' work. Right? So, that's what we're saying. Dapat maintindihan nila kung bakit nila kailangang aralin. Now, it's also important for us to explicitly tell them how integrity and honesty have a direct impact on the quality of life of people. Okay? Um, Pagka alam natin kung sino ang hindi nagsasabi ng totoo, okay? Ano, 'di ba parang ang hirap matulog sa gabi. Lingon ka ng lingon kung merong huhuli ba sa iyo. Okay? Mas mabilis tayong magkasakit. Konsekwensya ng real life cheating. At ang mga bata, hindi madali sa kanila mag-cheat eh. Lalo na sa maliliit. Grabe. Sorry, 'di ba? At one point or another, siguro lahat tayo nakapag-cheating in some form, no? And 'di ba, remember the first time you did it? How bad you felt. Share that, no? Share that. I think it's important. Um, Expectations about responsible behavior and consequences, no? So, hindi lang yung ngayon. Bakit tayo kailangan maging responsable? Anong nangyayari sa bansa natin kung lahat ng leaders nag-cheat? Okay? So, lahat yan kailangang pinag-uusapan. Hindi pwedeng iisipin ng teacher, dapat lang alam na nila. Lalo na, di ba, pag sa higher levels, matanda na sila, dapat alam na nila. No, we have to constantly talk about it, constantly make it top of mind. Okay, next. And then, it's also important na di ba ayaw natin we need to promote a growth mindset. Okay? And so, kung minsan bakit nag-cheat ang mga bata? Kasi hindi nila alam how to do better next time. Okay? Nag-submit sila ng papel, nag-submit sila ng test, and then they get it back with a big fat red mark na bagsak na bagsak. Wala namang nakasulat doon kung bakit mali. Wala rin namang nakasulat doon how they can improve their answer. Wala namang nakasulat doon what does a correct answer look like. If that's the case, how will they do better in the next test? Siyempre, the survival instinct of these students will say, naku, ang anong isipin lang nila, naku, bagsak ako. Pag makaisa pa akong bagsak, kick out na ako. Or babagsak na ako for the year. So, mag-cheat na ako. Di ba? So, to get them out of that fight or flight mode na survival instinct lang ang gumagana, we have to give constructive feedback. No? Iho, iha, kaya mali ito kasi ganito. Ang tamang sagot, yung mga sumasagot na sa ganitong mga tanong. For example, so the feedback that we give will play a big role in them knowing how to do better. And because they know how to do better, what happens? They feel that they have a fighting chance of getting a better grade next time. And if they have a fighting chance, they gain confidence. And if they have confidence, they will rely on that confidence. They will put in the hard work, okay? And it will lessen the need to be dishonest. And let's also compliment and praise the effort, the determination to learn. Okay? Sometimes it's also good to praise that courage, no? Na, wow, your answer, I really appreciate how you put this answer, even if I can sense that you're not confident about it. No? It shows your courage and all. And students feel good about these kind, no, of comments. All right. And syempre, when we teach our lessons, no, we weave integrity into our lessons. Sa mga senior high or junior high or even college, when you have when you have your students discuss case studies, moral dilemma, why don't you include dilemma on integrity, dilemma on academic honesty, so that they tackle it, they talk about it, and then because they will discuss it with you there, okay, or with them presenting it, they know that you're aware of what they are thinking, the struggles inside them. No, that's important. And then, kunwari, sa grade school naman, hindi ba? Sundot lang tayo ng sundot sa math, di ba? Sa math, instead na magno-normal problem solving ka na 5 apples plus 8 apples equals ganyan, and then someone took ganito, ilan ang matitira? Why don't you turn it into this cashier received this much more than what was needed? Should the cashier still return that money or not? That's integrity. Kasi, di ba, to do good when no one is watching. And so on and so forth. Okay? So, some schools also have or you do an honor pledge. In our school, we have this generic template that at the end of every assessment, the students write or sign their name to this one. Now, it's not foolproof, okay? We also allow them to use their own words, okay? But the reason why we want this is because after niya isulat yung last answer niya sa test, the fact na isusulat niya explicitly na hindi ako nag-cheat is an additional layer na pampagilty. Admittedly, it's really that. But, di ba, for all it's worth, if it works, why not? I also like this one, no? In a college in Iowa, no? So in the States, because it's college level, medyo mas mahaba. So tingnan mo to, I understand that academic integrity is expected of all Iowa State University students at all times. Now look, when someone puts his name to this, it's not just saying that I have integrity, but it's also taking pride in your school. No? That our school only has honest students, students with academic integrity. This is another version. I like this because it explicitly states kung ano yung mga bawal. So, pagka nagkahulihan, okay, or pag nag-submit ang bata ng assessment, alam niya kung ano ang bawal. So, you let them state kung anong pwede, anong bawal. Now, look at this. Ito nakakatuwa. Because this naman is from the teacher's perspective. Read it silently. Can you, as a teacher, imagine writing this on the assessment or saying this aloud to your students? We will not, di ba, attempt to catch you to cheat. We will not prevent you from cheating. Bakit? We will rely on your integrity. Ano ibig sabihin? We believe in you. Di ba? Tapos note, we made a large number of resources available to you. Binigyan pa namin kayo ng practice exam. Okay? Binigyan namin kayo ng idea kung paano kami magte-test. And so, for this exam, wala talaga hindi nyo talaga kailangan mag-cheat. Okay? So, this one I like because it puts the burden on the students. And that burden is explicitly articulated by the teachers. Okay, so those first few slides were about the why students cheat. Ito naman yung second question na, kaya ko ba? Madali bang mag-cheat? Mahuhuli ba ako? So, of course, in the design of your assessment, may mga assessment na madaling mag-cheat. And the second part of my talk after the break will focus on that. But aside from that, it's also about the teachers. Yun nga, ang teachers ba, important rin sa kanila ang academic integrity? Ang important ba sa kanila to relay, to send the message na important huwag mag-cheat? Dahil binabantayan ko kayo? Kasi kung matunugan nga ng mga bata na hindi importante ito sa mga teacher, edi mas madaling mag-cheat. So how will we correct that? Through the way we form and train our teachers. Now, yung third question, kung mahuli ako, anong mangyayari? Worth it ba? So kailangan nyo pag-isipan, nasa handbook nyo ba? Klaro ba? Remember, the heavier the sanction you give it, it means that the heavier the value you put on honesty. Kung slap on the wrist lang ang sanction for cheating, ibig sabihin, hindi lang rin importante. Para sa inyo na mga nagda-drive, di ba? Hindi ba, kung maliit lang ang fine for a traffic offense, okay? Okay, ibig sabihin, hindi yun importante masyado. At kayang-kaya niyong hindi sundin. Okay? But if malaki yung fine, then you will think twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times before you even attempt, no? Or you even dare to do that. Now, itong linkages, it just means that I think that the grade school should talk with the high school. The junior should talk with senior high to talk with college, and colleges to talk with the corporate world or the hiring community, the economy. Why? Because this can be your pang-hostage, no? This can be your card. For example, if from grade school to high school, no, meron kayong usapan or ang high school ay strict. Titignan namin ang grade syempre sa admissions test. Pero titignan rin namin kung may offense yung batang yan ng pag-cheating. Kasi kung nahuli na yan na pag-cheating, waitlist agad yan. Hindi namin yan gustong tanggapin. Itong mga bata, hindi lang sa grades, hindi ba? Hindi lang sila sa grades magwo-worry, even for behavior. Example lang, the same, pag ang senior high at kung ang colleges sasabihin sa senior high schools na our admissions process also looks at the disciplinary records of students. And someone who was given a disciplinary sanction for academic dishonesty will automatically be disqualified from admission. Can you imagine? Marami pa bang mag-cheat kung alam nilang pwede silang hindi makapasok sa college or even for the hiring process, no? Kung yung mga multinationals sasabihin ay we value integrity in our corporation, that's the virtue that is foremost in our organization. And so, student records that are tainted with entries of dishonesty will not even reach the interview stage. Di ba? Ang laking impact nun. Sa tingin ko lang, mas kokonte ang mga nag-cheating sa college. But at the moment, we're not talking to each other. So that is something for us to think about. So that's a lot already. It's 10:55. So we will break for a while, but just to a short recap, we talked about the questions that students think about before they cheat. And then I tried to offer you proactive measures on how to address those three questions so that the students will in their head tell themselves, don't cheat. Okay? Yan ang baon natin. And then after the break, we will talk about assessments in greater detail. Thank you. May I now call on Mr. Luis Pelea once again to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Miss Jane. Three things that were very helpful about Miss Jane's first talk. Number one, we focus more on the why of the students rather than just berating them immediately for the actions that they've done. Yes, I agree. It's very important that we look into their internal motivations as to why they do these things. And also, when it comes to making assessments, really anchoring them on real world significance, not just for the sake of it, but really making it intentional in the way that we make our assessments. Thank you, Miss Jane. Now, at this point, I would just like to ask for a small time of prayer and silence for those affected by the earthquake. Heavenly Father, we lift up to you all the families, all our friends who were greatly affected by the earthquake. Lord, may you provide your healing hand, your provisions, and protection to everyone affected. Give them comfort and peace. In your most precious name we pray. Amen. All right. Now let's get to know the new offering and initiative of Tag Pros Education. Let's watch this short video.
Hello, my name is Chris Manansala. Hello, my name is Chris Manansala, and I'm the CEO of Tag Pros USA. Create your online classes at Tag Pros and get a chance to collaborate and get noticed by United States schools. We're currently running a Texas Visiting Teachers program, and who knows, you might get invited by school principals to visit and work in their schools. Check the link on your chat box for more details. Sign up, apply, and create your classes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ryan Benson, a member of Glasgow Middle School's Math Department. Create your online class with Tag Pros and help us educate American students. Sign up and apply now.
Howdy, I am Josh Floyd of Fairfax County Public School District. Join and teach here at Tag Pros and help us educate American students. Sign up and apply now.
As we transition to the new normal, we have left others behind. We need to reimagine and redesign our educational system. With the collective effort of schools, sponsors, and TagPro's learning management system, and core of passionate teachers, we can deliver free education and champion the cause of our students. Together, we would be able to teach, inspire, and serve, because TagPros believes that education is a right all children deserve.
Now here at Tag Pros. You'll know it worked if you get the registration success over here. Congratulations. To verify your account, kindly click the link sent to this particular email. Hello, fellow educators. I'm Luis Pelea, a Tag Pros pioneer, English teacher, musician, and EdTech integrator. Today, I'm going to walk you through on how to sign up as a Tag Pros teacher and how to create a class. All right, get those devices ready and let's get to it. Tag Pros Education is an online K-12 education marketplace where passion takes the lead in learning. In our platform, teachers create meaningful and engaging classes and teach them online. Parents and learners can enroll in our platform to pursue their passion, satisfy their curiosity, and build skills that would help them not just in school, but in life. To sign up as a Tag Pros teacher, the first thing you have to do is go to tagpros.us. So that's what I'm typing here on my browser. Now take note that any browser is fine. You can use Chrome. I just personally prefer to use Safari. Then you're going to want to go to the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Click on this green icon that says sign up. You want to key in some basic information. And here, let's just try it over here. So I'm going to put here some pretend names. Anakin, Skywalker. Let's pretend those are my credentials. And then you have to put your email that you'd like to connect to Tag Pros. So in this case, I made an email, tagpros.demo22@gmail.com. Then you have to key in your password. So it's very important that you don't forget this password over here. And as we key it in, take note that you have to really choose the email that you'll be using for your Tag Pros account. All right? Because it's going to be for a long-term usage already. Okay? So let's just key it in over there. Let's just check if all the details are correct. And since you're a teacher, we're going to select over here, join as a teacher. You'll know it's done successfully if it highlights green. Tick that box, I agree to all the terms, and click on register. Ooh, it says here that password must contain at least one uppercase letter. No problem. I'm just going to edit the first one there and capitalize that. So take note, the password needs to have an uppercase letter. Now it needs to have a special character. So let's add a special character at the end over here. There. Okay. And there we have it. We are now here at Tag Pros. You'll know it worked if you get the registration success over here. Congratulations. To verify your account, kindly click the link sent to this particular email. All right, so I'm going to go to that email right now, and I'm going to activate it, all right? So let's go over to the email. So as we were able to see on the Tag Pros official website, we need to verify our accounts. So our account, rather. So here, I went to my Gmail account for Tag Pros. It's over here. It's the only email. I'm going to click on that. It says here, good day. Thank you for successfully registering with us. Please verify your account by just clicking on this link. So very simple. I'm going to click this link. And now I'm going to be redirected to the verification process. There we go. That's simple. Account verified. And now I was automatically redirected to the official tagpros.us. Now, all we have to do is sign in with the email that we registered. So for me, it's there we go. So in my case, I'm just going to use my iCloud keychain. Just key in your information for that. All right. Welcome to the Tag Pros Teachers Dashboard. So hi, this is Tag P, the Tarshir, and he's here to guide us. All right, let's go over to this next part. So if you'd like to learn more about Tag Pros, you can just watch this video over here. Then, of course, we are applying as a teacher. So we're going to type here, apply as a Tag Pros teacher. There we go. Now, the next thing that we're going to learn together is how to create a class. Now, before we move on to creating classes, it's very important that we finish the onboarding or application process. So as you can see on the screen here, all you have to do is press Let's Go down here at the bottom, and you will be redirected to the next step. about Tag Pros. All you have to do is watch this embedded YouTube video, click on that down there, and click on Next. And here is the very fun part. We just put in our very important and relevant credentials. So for the sake of this demonstration, let's just put test. All right, test, test. And here, we need to upload our credentials here as well. So for the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm just going to attach my CV for all parts of the attachments. All right, so it will take a while. There, so update file, that means it's already uploaded. And yes, if you would like to change these files, that is more than possible. So here again, just uploading my CV. Luckily, the internet is cooperating. That's why it's very quick to upload these different files. Over here, you just want to include some pertinent details. Let's just push here test. Click on update at the bottom. All right. Now we're to the third to the last step already about your classes. There are some guide questions over here. You just want to go over them real quick. I'm going to put in test and test down here. So teachers, just be very careful to read all of the reminders and points here. You want to be as detailed and specific as possible, because these are the details that the clientele, the parents, the teachers will be able to see, or the students too. So the more specific it is, the more targeted your audience will be. So anyway, let's click on update. All right, we're almost done. So here it's very important that we upload sample classes for your recorded ones. So click on update if that's okay. And then agree, terms and conditions, class content policy, and lastly, community standards. So yeah, we completed all of the steps before we begin about Tag Pros, personal details about your classes, and be sure to upload a sample class. If you are confident and sure with everything, kindly just click on this tab over here, submit application. And there we go. You will get a prompt here at the upper right hand corner. Your application has been sent. So here are the details. Now, you will see over here that the status is pending. So we just need to wait for the admin side to go over our application, and it should say approved down here on the lower left corner of the screen. Only then can we start creating classes. All right? So after this, I'm going to walk you through on how to create a class. All right. Now, the last thing that we have to do is create a class. And to do so, we just go to the left side of the toolbar or taskbar over here, click on Teacher Tools, and click on this tab here, Create a New Class. Now, it says here that we have to create a payout account. I believe that's very important for the payments, of course, for students to be remitted to us. So let's just click on Proceed. There we go. And based on the interface of this system, it is now allowing me to already create a new class. All right. So let's enter my password over here to create a payout account as to where I can receive the payment. So it's unlocked over here. So we want to click on this pencil icon to edit. So here we have the account name. So here, let's just put my name. Probably we could blur this out later. There we go. And take note that for Tag Pros, it accepts a PayPal account. So as a teacher, it is very important to create a PayPal account. And in my case, this is the account I'll be using. Let's click on Update. There we go. Very successful. Payout details have been updated. There we go. Let's click on Next over there. Now, as you can see, a while ago, this padlock was locked, but now it is unlocked, which will now allow us to create a class. There we go. When I clicked on that blue button, it still says payout account. All right. So if the link does not work, just navigate to profile and go to payout account. Proceed. Let's try that again. No worries. Let's click on the account name, PayPal, support. Now it is unlocked. All right, let's create a new class. There we go. So sometimes we really just have to recheck or reload or repeat the steps in order for it to work. We have to be prepared for these minor glitches. We have to stay calm, you know. So let's pretend I want to teach English. So let's try English enrichment with Mr. Pelea or with Teacher Luis. Select the category. So in this case, let's look for English language subcategory. I'd like to go for essay writing. For the age, I'd like to go for 7 to 10, probably for now. Skill level, let's say intermediate. So here, just provide a very brief description of your class. In the interest of time, let's just put test. That's all on you here. Learning goals, you can just put that there. And materials and resources, all right? So those are the only informations that we have to include. Now we're gonna go over here, click on next. Now here, we need to upload a thumbnail, a picture. Take note of the formats that are allowed here. So I'm gonna click upload. For the sake of this test, I'm going to choose, let's see, probably an image. Yes, that's my image that I use. There, click on next. There. Now we can choose what type of course. Would you want to do live scheduled classes or recorded classes? So let's just go with live. Number of sessions, let's say that we need 6. Take note of the time zone. Here's already preset to Manila, so that's a good thing. Minimum number of learners. Let's say I need at least 5 to 10, or let's say 10. There we go. Maximum of maybe 15. So it's really up to you. All you have to do is click on the drop-down menu or the arrow keys over here. There we go. Start time. Let's say I want to start it in the evening, since that's when I am free. Let's try 5:30 p.m. Maybe it's an hour long, or maybe just 30 minutes. So let's say the end time would be 6:30 p.m. Very good. Very good. Now here, we have to select preferred dates for our classes. So let's say that we're allowed to start in August. Let's say I want to have my classes on Mondays. There we go. Wednesdays and Fridays. So what I'm doing here is I'm just clicking on the dates that I prefer. So that's 1 week, again, 15, 16, 17. So that's 6 sessions. I believe I mentioned 6 earlier. Yeah, that's right. Okay, click on next. Now, pricing. So let's just decide on the price. Let's say I want to go for USD. It's, the currency here is in dollars. So let's click on that. We're already up here to the last. Passing grade or percentage. Let's say I want a passing grade of 70%. There we go. Very nice. Okay, take note, we don't have to put the percent sign or icon or symbol anymore. So we have to make a pop test. So here, I'm just gonna put test. The answer is over here. Let's say A, B, C, and D. So there are 4 options. You can even add questions over here. And you can also click on which is the correct answer. There we go. Now, if you're satisfied with the pop quiz that you like, and after you've added your questions, so you can do it like that. So test 2. There we go. This is the correct answer. Let's click on this green icon or tab at the bottom right-hand corner. Submit. Successfully created a new class. Kindly wait for the approval. So you're good to go. Once you see this on your screen, all you have to do is wait for the admin side or the HR side to approve your class. And there you go. There you have it. So there you have it. Signing up and creating classes on Tag Pros is as easy as that. What are you waiting for? Grab that laptop and come join us at Tag Pros. We hope to see you soon. Stay safe, teacher. Welcome back, everyone. And we are very excited to see a lot of teachers join us here at Tag Pros Education. So let's now welcome back Miss Jane for the second part of her lecture. Take it away, Miss Jane. So remember, joining as a Tag Pros teacher is as easy as search, click, and learn. Thank you. I'm Miss Jane.
Okay. So I'm back, and a while ago, uh, we talked about the three questions that go in our students' head, and one way by which we can deter academic dishonesty is uh, in the way that we design our assessment. So the next few slides will really be more like a talk on assessments, okay? How we can make them a little bit more, not foolproof, but a little bit more um, cheating free. Okay, so let's look at this. All right. So I think it's good that when we design assessments, we have to remember that everything, almost everything is Googleable. Okay, we do that all the time. No, if we want to find out what's the best word to use in a sentence, you do this. An item, a concept that we need defined, we Google it. So almost everything is really Googleable, and because of this, we have to modify our assessments for online instruction. We cannot just use what we had before and migrate them and think that they will still work. And then it's also important that we will require assessments that check for higher order thinking skills. And when possible, when appropriate, it's better to employ alternative and authentic assessments. Okay, so let me go over those a little bit more. When we talk about higher order thinking skills, what do we mean? So we're looking at Bloom's taxonomy, and we're asking for students to do more than recall and remember. Okay, so let me give you some examples of a lower order question and a question that might require students to do a higher kind of thinking. So let's say you ask a student to identify the next step in a process. Okay? Someone who just memorized all the steps could easily blurt it back to you by sheer remembering. Okay? But if you ask them to explain why that next step cannot happen without the previous one, it will require more than just recalling, but it will require that they understood the process and as such can explain. So it's critical thinking, it's more critical rather than the previous question. Another example, instead of just asking what was the effect of the main character's decision, which will just ask the which will just require the students to know what happened, right? Because the main character did this one happened. Instead of just that, might we want to ask, how could the story change if the main character had decided in a different way? Diba? So it's more than just, it requires creativity, it requires a certain analysis. It's not just a recall of what happened in the story. There are now what if, okay? What if questions. In the lower grade science, di ba? We're fond of asking, I'll give you these 10 things. Put them into the correct box. Living thing or non-living thing. Instead of, let's say they have a very good tutor and all those examples were given, di ba? So it's easy to just slot them. But what if we ask them to defend something, to defend their answer? Explain why a table cannot be considered a living thing, then it will mean that they know what makes a living thing living, because they will use those criteria against the table to explain their answer. Or instead of solving for X, no? In this one, the higher order question will require them to do error analysis. Or instead of asking for a definition of a concept, personification, you let them check which is not an example or which is an example of personification. So again, one way to differentiate a more complex question is to require the students to do more than one type of thinking. So it could be a multi-step thinking process, okay, which will start with recalling a concept, okay, but after the recalling, asks them to do something about what they know about that. Let me give you more examples. Okay, what did the antagonist do? So again, that's recall. But the next question says, if you were the antagonist, would you have done the same thing? And then explain. So there's now this valuing. There's a judgment call. So there's reasoning required. Okay? So there's a multi-step thinking process now that's happening. And then what example, compare and contrast needs and wants. A teacher who teaches very well, okay, can have a very good description, um, a way of explaining this. And someone who listened very well to the discussion and who took very good notes of what the teacher said can just regurgitate, no, give back to the teacher exactly what he or she said. But if you ask them to apply what they learned about what you said, then certainly that's a higher order thinking skill. Like how might a cell phone be both a need and a want, di ba? And look, it says for you. So it still puts in that context. Okay? So for history, narrate what happened. But if you wish to connect to another subject, then you might want to use it in another subject. Cite a situation in the story that's being read in literature that could be considered a modern cry of balintawak. And then this one will be graded by both English and social studies, no? Social science. Oh, what can you do at home to conserve water? Diba? That's a very Miss Universe question. And almost all answers there are correct. But if you would ask them to invent a machine that can help a household conserve water, it will require them to know what water conservation means. It will require them to think about their actual house, okay? And they cannot Google it because the context of their house might not be in Google, right? Then, as you have them describe the parts and what they do, it will entail an explicit, clear understanding of what it means to conserve water, whether or not it will work in their homes. Okay? Or straight literature, what did the author mean by? But you ask them something more. Would you recommend the author to your friends? So it will first require them to know the author before they could answer this next question. So more about HUTs, no? To you, no? True or false? Multiple choice questions just test for lost or lower order thinking skills. Our knee-jerk reaction says, ay, true or false, so either yan or yan lang. No? Pag multiple choice, pipili lang sila. So, it's, of course, recall. No? If it's recall, o di lower order lang yan. But let me just tell you that multiple choice questions can also be used to test for HOTS. However, you have to make sure that the questions will require application and not just recall. So the short answer is MCQs, if they test for recall of concepts, will definitely just ask for lower order thinking skills. But if your MCQ asks for an application of the concepts, then that could still be a HOTS. Or for example, you have a mini case study, and then um, your questions about the mini case study can still ask for HOTS, like what these two do. Okay? So, why am I saying to ask more HOTS than lower order? Because the HOTS are less Googleable. Um, Note, I'm not saying they're not Googleable because, as I said, almost everything is, but it's less easier for them to Google it. Now, another thing you can do in terms of assessments, no, instead of your usual pen and paper, your usual yun nga MCQs, true or false, enumeration, fill in the blanks, you might want to rely on the use of alternative assessments that make cheating harder to do. And these are some examples, no, an annotated anthology or a bibliography. Di ba? For example lang, in history, instead of just asking them, especially in senior high or in college, instead of just giving multiple choice about a historical event, okay? Instead of having them recall dates, uh, but your task is come up with at least a list of 5 sources or 5 resources that will let your readers know about this event. Okay? Write them down. And you don't only write them down, you give your reason why you want the reader to read it. Then that forces your students to be very familiar and to read the resources about that historical event. So because you're asking for 5, 5 beses sila magbabasa about it. Okay? And that's your guarantee that they know about that historical event instead of our usual way of checking by asking them to recall specific details about the event. So it's another way of testing. Okay? Or let's say a game creation, test construction. Sila yung papagawin nyo ng exam about the topic. No? About the topic. So it's a different way. Instead na sila ang sasagot, what if sila kaya yung gumawa ng tanong? And then you will also see if they're able to spot ano yung mga important na dapat itanong. Di ba? Wouldn't that be very interesting? Or have them write a reflective paper. I have an example of that in a while. And if you're going to do an open book test, may bibigay kayong tanong, open book na nga eh. Hindi na nila kailangang mag-cheat pa, hindi ba? Kasi bukas na. Pero yung iba talaga, gusto nila shortcut. No. So what can you do to prevent na shortcut i-google pa instead of hanapin dun sa libro? Aside from the test questionnaire, have them send you a picture, okay, of the resources that are used. Okay? So, for example, take a picture of the part of the book where you found your answer to question number 6 to 10. Parang ganon. Okay? So, sure ka, hinanap niya. So, again, that's another step. Or let them do a historical documentary, no? Because it's a multi-step process that will require them to make an outline, etc., etc. Talaga namang after they finish that, gamay na nila yung topic. A book trailer, a podcast, no? Or a discussion board where they answer each other, where they can actually argue with each other, they provide justification for their responses, etc. And so on, so forth. Okay? Now, uh, these are important because it's hard to Google an entire historical documentary. Hindi ba? It's hard to Google a test about a specific topic. And note also, the alternative as okay, let me take a step back. Why do we give assessments? Because we want to know whether we want to get an evidence of whether or not they know, they are very familiar with the topic. Correct? The usual tests try to catch them at their worst. 'Di ba? What do I mean? In the sense that the usual test will check, alam mo ba 'to o hindi? 'Di ba? Pag hindi, kasi mali, 'di ba? Hindi mo alam. O pag alam mo, kasi nabigay mo yung tamang sagot. So it's really a test whether I can check the correct answer or put an X on a wrong answer. But these alternative assessments are not always that way in ensuring that learning happen. Sometimes it's the amount of babad. Sorry for the code switching. But babad or the immersion, no? It's the amount of immersion that the project requires a student to do in the topic that will give you an assurance of learning, not just a quick check of whether he got it or not, no? Because the amount of work needed to do your lesson, needed to do your subject, okay, requires them to really know all about it. Hindi mo na kailangang i-test pa yon. Kumbaga, assumed na yon. Iba na yung hihingiin nating proof. So that's also another way of thinking outside the box. Okay? Kasi nga, the assessments, why do we want the assessments? Because we want lang naman to make sure that they learn eh. 'Di ba? So let's do it in different ways. Okay? Note, there are some topics that are best tested in a regular multiple choice, especially for the lower grades. Okay? I'm not saying do ganito lang ang the best. Hindi. What I'm just saying is sometimes these are better to use. But for some topics, maybe the traditional could still be better. Now, again, why complex alternative assessments? Because, again, they are less Googleable. One other suggestion is that when you give an assessment topic or an assessment question, okay, it's good if you can tie it up to their person, okay, such that they are required to provide a personal insight. Okay? Yung nakatali sa buhay nila, experience nila, feeling nila. Kasi, saan nila huhugutin yon? Diba sa loob lang, hindi yun pwedeng makita sa labas. Kasi yung pagkukunan nasa loob, original. Or, to related lessons. No? What do I mean? If, for example, two or three or more subjects come together for an interdisciplinary assessment, di ba? No? So yung science ihahalo sa English, na hahaluan ng valuing ng religion, tapos may current events ng pangyayari ngayon for social science. Mahirap yun. Kayo lang yung school na tamang-tama, yun ang tinuturo ng 4 na subjects. Di ba? And because it is very specific to your school context at sa inaaral ng mga estudyante nyo ngayon, mahirap rin yun i-Google. Di ba? Sobra namang coincidence kung swak lahat yung 4 na subjects na yun, di ba? Kasi kayo yung nag-isip nun. Okay? So, nasabi ko na rin yung sa current events. So ito yung example ng tying it up to your own experience. Let's say instead of summative summative 50 item written traditional test about the coverage of the quarter or the trimester. Ang ipapalit mo is a final reflection paper that asks for what have you learned. E di syempre yung natutunan niya dapat lumabas lahat ng important concepts o di babad na siya ron. What terms and concepts do you now recognize and understand differently? Oh, the word differently suggests that dapat may ibigay siyang sagot na may lalim. Kasi hindi yun yung una niyang alam about it. Ano na yung natutunan niya now, after naturo mo. So dapat lumabas yon. So again, hot siya, di ba? What terms, concepts, ideas do you find more complicated? So makikita mo rin kung saan siya, ano yung greater appreciation niya, hindi ba? Tapos 'di ba, sabi nga, if you are able to explain it to someone, to teach it to someone, that's a clear evidence that you understood it more than just, defining it. You have to teach it to someone. So ito na, what are you now able to explain to someone else? Okay? Or how do you feel differently about it, and so on so forth. Okay? And because ayaw naman natin na lahat sarili lang, dapat may standards rin of excellence, then you can also include minimum number of references, okay? Ano yung requirement na news article, okay? Dapat ba may draft 1, tapos i-check mo yung draft 2, and so on, so forth. So, that tying in to self, tying into other subjects, tying into current events, contextualizes, and again, makes the assessment less Googleable. How about in the in the administration of the assessments? For those of you who are using an LMS, a learning management system platform, okay, you might want to set a time limit para, tapos alam mo yun, yung may test na pagdating ng 10 minutes or 20 minutes, nagsasara, finished or not. Kasi kung merong ganito, may sense of urgency, wala na silang oras pumunta sa Google. Or kung para mahirapan sila na yung iba i-dictate, ang sagot ay B, C, C, A, G, ganon. You randomize so that iba-iba ang sagot nila per item. Or, kunwari, 15 items lang ang test. But ang i-feed ninyo dun sa LMS is around 20 to 25 items. So that each one of us in class will receive a different set of questions. O, mahirap magtanong, hindi ba? Mahirap magtanong sa kaklase. Or yung iba naman, katulad ng IB or yung very complex test, no? Kuminsan, may mga magaganda na kasing tanong sa internet. Pwede nyo namang gamitin. Except that, huwag nyo namang kopyahin 100%. Di ba? Change some items there because otherwise, if they copy and paste your question on Google, lalabas at lalabas agad yon. So you vary some parts so that the exact question will not be easily searched. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm not going to the group project anymore. But just to push again what I wanted to say earlier, all the slides I've mentioned tackled proactive measures. Meaning to say, sa paggawa pa lang ng test, sa pag-administer pa lang ng test, na pag-isipan na natin kung paano natin ililesen ang temptation to cheat. Now, how about pag nagte-test na? May magagawa rin ba tayo? Di ba sabi natin nga, pag na-sense nila na madali, mas mag-cheat yan. And so there are digital tools that you can use to catch academic dishonesty. Pwedeng Turnitin that looks for plagiarism. May bayad yan eh. So kung ayaw nyo yan, pwede namang Google lang, no? Or there are some mobile device management apps, okay, na nilalock yung screen ng estudyante para hindi siya makapunta sa Google habang nagte-test. Meron din ganon. And of course, kung ang problema na nga ay yung teachers natin, pagsabihan nyo yung teachers. Ititrain nyo sila kung paano dapat mag-proctor. Now, other important big ideas. Both are important. Okay? But research shows that while we need to do the two, cannot be one only. Greater attention has to be given to this box because the proactive measures work better than just having policing and punishment. Okay, it's important to remember that technology is not the cause of dishonest behavior. It is not Google that makes your students cheat. But technology can make dishonest behaviors easier to do. Diba? Example, nung wala pang Google, ang pagkokopyahan lang nila ay notes nila. At depende sa ganda nila kumuha ng notes. Ngayon, yung Google, lahat ng sagot nandyan na. So it makes the copying of answers easier to do. But, as I said, Google did not cause them to cheat. Okay? Now, if you will use Turnitin, the MDM, yung mga sinabi ko kanina, or putting time limit to the test, to the administration of tests, no? Those are just stopgap measures, but they are not the solution to cheating. And so, despite the best efforts that we will do, if the students have the will to cheat, they will always find a way. But I would also like to tell you that if the teachers have the will to promote the virtue of academic integrity, then we will always continuously try to find a way to do our work of formation in the students. Okay? More recent research shows that students are heavily influenced by their peers and by the values of the local and general society. So hindi lang tayo ang pinapakinggan nila inside the classroom. Hindi lang magulang nila ang tinitignan nila, no? Kung ano ang nakikita nilang ginagawa ng mga kaklase nila, ano ang nakikita nila sa news, ano ang nakikita nila outside, no? They are influenced by that. And unfortunately, our society today seems more tolerant of dishonest practices in almost every aspect of daily life. Hindi ba? Sa traffic pa lang, sa pagbabayad ng buwis, katatapos lang ng eleksyon, no? Parang accepted na sa atin talaga na may vote buying, no? Parang naging part of life, no? So our students are growing up in such a society, no? And if they witness this, lalo na kung ang na-witness nila na naging dishonest ay mga kaibigan nila, mas lumalakas ang loob nila to do the same thing. Parang tayo ring mga adults, di ba? Kung minsan, pag iniisip natin, vote buying. Ay, ang sama-sama naman yan, ganyan-ganyan. Pero I bet, pag nabalitaan mo na ang kapitbahay mo ay tumanggap ng pera nung eleksyon at wala namang nangyari sa kanya, ikaw din, in the next election might be more open to the idea of receiving a sum during the election time. Di ba? So, when we see inappropriate behavior of friends, okay? Okay? The incidence of us doing it also becomes greater. So honesty and integrity, or the lack of the two, is not a problem of the classroom alone. It should be addressed at the societal level because our students are affected by what they see in society. And because of that, it concerns all of us in the different roles that we play. As a teacher, as a parent, as a colleague, as a sibling, etc. Okay? And so, ito nga, because we too are influenced, di ba? We too live in that culture. We too, when we witness inappropriate behaviors, tend to perform similar behaviors. So, I'd like just to end with a reflection question. Have we too, in any way, contributed to the culture of dishonesty? And remember, though dishonest acts, even if they're not related to academics, are what gives the students license for academic dishonesty. Kasi dishonesty is one big package. Eh. And on the flip side, how have we been an instrument to foster academic integrity? Okay, so these are the references for my talk this morning. I'd like to thank everybody for your attention. Thank you very much. So may I call back Luis to help with the question and answer part.
Thank you very much, Miss Jane, for sharing your expertise with us. As I was listening, I remembered about the concept of intentionality. When we are intentional, we will really be able to design our assessments in such a way that we help our students to practice academic honesty and integrity. Let's all give a virtual round of applause to Miss Jane Cacacho. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to an open forum because I'm sure a lot of you have questions for our speakers. So, thus again, welcome back, Miss Jane, to our virtual stage. Now, in the interest of time, we can accommodate two questions. And I'm sure you'll be very happy to hear what Miss Jane has to say about these. For the first question, may limitation po ba yung oh, sorry, not that one. That's for an LMS question. To answer your question for Tag Pros, you can make as many classes as you'd like. There is no limit on the number of classes for the Tag Pros LMS. Thank you. All right, now for Miss Jane, isn't it too much spoon feeding giving per exam? Miss Jane, I think she is referring to the retakes. Po?
Is it
Much
spoon
spoon
feeding
feeding if we give them retakes for
ah,
each exam. Opo.
okay. All right. That's a very good question. Um, if your if the type of your assessment only asks for lower order thinking skills, okay, the only way by which a student will do better in the retake is to know the correct answer. Hindi ba? So, kunwari, ang sagot, population. Ang sinagot niya nung una ay pollination. Palitan mo lang yung sagot, tapos na. So if that is the case, I don't think those types of assessments will benefit with a retake. So it's complex and usually alternative and authentic assessments that will require critical thinking and a multi-step thinking process that will benefit. Why? Because remember, the retake is an opportunity for growth. We want them to learn from their mistakes and from their mistakes slowly improve their answers. It's not just knowing the correct answer, which will be the case if your assessment will all ask for lower order thinking skills. And in Sorry, in Xavier, we pride ourselves on never just asking for lower order thinking skills.
Thank you, Miss Jane. For our second and last question, are these actions based on empirical data? For instance, is it conclusive to say that students are not motivated by awards and it is their parents wanting to? Thank you. Yes.
Okay. For my talk, most of the resources I used had empirical data behind them. Okay. Um, from my experience, however, I have not fielded any scientific study, but I did do a focus group discussion before of high school student leaders. And in that focus group discussion, it came out that yun nga, one of the reasons for academic dishonesty was pressure from parents. There's also this study, I just cannot recall now which book it came from, but this is actually for adults, working adults, that uh, rewards work better for manual things. But if you would like fulfillment, it's not the usual reward. So if you are, I don't know if it's applicable, but to me, logically, it does. No? So yung rewards, and in the classroom, this can be points, stars, yung mga simpleng-simple lang. Um, wag ring gasgasin. Let's use them sparingly. So even for academic awards, parang it works as an external motivation. But if you want your students to be intrinsically self-driven, then they should see the relevance in your subject and they will perform as well as they could with or without awards.
Thank you so much, Miss Jane. Thank you for gracing us with your time and your expertise. And that ends our open forum. If you have any further questions, you may forward them to us at Tag Pros Education Facebook page, and we will try our very best to give you the answers that you seek from our guest speaker today. Once again, let's give a virtual round of applause to Miss Jane Cacacho for today's very enriching and insightful webinar. Thank you so much, Miss Jane.
Thank you.
All right. To move forward, tell us your thoughts about today's webinar workshop in the evaluation form. The link is presented on the screen as well down there. Answering the evaluation form is necessary for claiming the e-certificates. Reminder that you have 1 week to answer the evaluation form to get an e-certificate. We will be sending out your e-certificates after 2 weeks. Thank you for your understanding and for your patience. So click on that link on the screen. And that ends today's webinar workshop, but we hope to see you again in the next series of our workshops. As always, keep updated with Tag Pros Education by following our official social media pages. Invite your family and friends as well. Again, I am Luis Pelea, and thank you for joining us today. Good day and stay safe always. God bless everyone.